could significantly increase the number of container ships that come through the state port. And tonight, the public had a chance to learn more about the project. U.S. Army Corps of Engineers shared details about potentially deepening the Wilmington Harbor. WECT's Anaya Cromartie heard those details tonight. Now, Anaya, as Fran said, this could mean bigger ships coming in here and make Wilmington's port more competitive with others along the East Coast.
Yes, John, the plan is to deepen the Wilmington Harbor from 42 to 47 feet. The last major improvements were done between 2000 and 2013. Since then, the area's experienced growth in cargo volume. Right now, the State Army Corps of Engineers are studying the plan to deepen the harbor. The purpose of tonight's meeting was to get feedback from the community on how this could impact the area. The study, called Wilmington Harbor 403 Letter Report, will look at feasibility, benefits, cost, and environmental impacts. New Hanover County Commissioner Rob Zappel was at tonight's meeting. He says it's a major investment for the region.
A lot of money on the line as it moves forward, but also major environmental impacts, and so we'd like to track that and see what that will mean to all of us.
This is the last public meeting until they release the draft of the environmental impact statement. It should come out this fall. John?
I know these projects, harbor deepening projects, cost hundreds of millions of dollars. What about the study portion? Is that pricey too?
John, yes, the study costs $8.5 million. That price is covered by the Army Corps of Engineers and the state port.
Well, we'll have to see what the report says when it comes out. Anaya, thanks. The list of beach towns not charging for parking is now a little shorter. Town commissioners in Topsail Beach voted to implement paid parking starting April the 1st, but only at oceanfront public beach accesses that have graveled parking lots.